Hey, what's up, everybody? Just checking in after another nice session. Today, just wanted to discuss kind of self-evaluation, unlearning, and then, re-educating yourself. There was probably a lot of things that we were introduced to when we were young and growing up that aren't necessarily applicable to our current situation. As I stated, like, the times that we grew up in aren't the times that we're living in now. So the way that we have raised children has changed drastically over the years. I grew up in a time, where spanking kids was regular. Kind of thankful for some of the whoopings that I got, because I learned about consequences rather early, and that encouraged me to think long-term about choices that I would be making. It helped me plan better, because I had a general direction of where I wanted to head in throughout my life, and I kept moving forward towards whatever those goals would be. Even though I had to, divert some paths to achieve different outcomes, it was all in the same effort to move forward towards the same goals, if that makes sense. Some things that I had to unlearn, like, I grew up in a single parent household. I didn't have access to a lot of male role models, and I didn't really have the encouragement to support to understand what it meant to be a man, and through that learning process over my life, seeking out those role models, grafting what my characteristics of being the kind of person that I wanted to be would look like, crafting that mindset. There was bumps and hurdles along the way. You get taken advantage of mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, and otherwise. But I kept pushing. I kept putting one foot in front of the other. I kept stepping forward. And then over that process again, I had to unlearn some of the core concepts that I was raised with. Let's say something as simple as, children should be seen and not heard. Helpful in those times. I learned to listen and absorb and learn. That's what encouraged learning. But then again, learning how to communicate and advocate for yourself was a little bit stunted in that process. Because I wasn't encouraged to speak. I wasn't necessarily a friend with my parent. And sometimes in those situations, you don't need to be. You need to be the parent first. You need to encourage them to think about choices that they're making and how it's going to impact their life. So there's pros and cons to everything. One of my longest life philosophies is that life is a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? There's always pros and cons to everything that you're going to do. It's never going to be perfect. It's not, and what's good for you might be horrible for somebody else, because we're all different, unique individuals. So again, to come back to that, again, I'm grateful for the time that I did get to grow up in. I got to transition through all of this and see a bunch of different angles and viewpoints on life, and like I encourage all of you to do, I got to pull what was helpful and beneficial, and then, at least be aware of some drawbacks to what these other mindsets could lead to. The children should be seen and not heard. Again, encouraged to listen and learn, take in, absorb, process, think for myself. But then again, later had to learn to advocate for myself articulately, and not necessarily have bottled up aggression inside and outbursts of anger. Again, had a video talking about anger management. Way better at processing, at this point in my life, but it took a long time, and I had consequences in the interim because of that. So that's why I encourage writing, not as a necessity, but as a desire, as you see fit. Matter of fact, I jumped in my journal the other day. It had been a minute since I sat down and talked to myself, but it was nice to revisit that situation because I got some things working around upstairs that, again, always communicating with yourself. Everybody doesn't have an internal monologue. Isn't that weird? But communicating, I'm a big communicator. I appreciate it. But yeah, always communicating with myself, looking to optimize, making sure that I'm on the course and direction that I want to head to myself, and then you're going to have weird thoughts that come into your mind, and you're going to not want to dwell on those. Again, writing helps me. That's one of the conversations that I had to have with myself. There's some kind of weird thoughts that I've been having about somebody close to me, and it's not beneficial for you or anybody that you might be engaging with to be mentally tearing them down, and you want to acknowledge that. That's where self-awareness, self-assessment comes into play, and then, see what that may be coming from. And before you communicate with that other party, especially out of some kind of negative situation, process it all yourself so that you can find a way to articulate what you would need to get across as best you can. Again, you're probably not going to communicate like a perfectionist. We're not looking for perfection, just looking for decent progress. You know what I'm saying? Effort always. Effort is going to be not trying every time. So again, in that self-evaluation, you're going to need to be able to critique yourself, receive criticism from others, and not take it personally. And, find some of it that you feel comfortable working on so that the next time it comes up, you might be more receptive and be like, man, you know what? I was thinking about that. Here's the thing. If somebody's criticizing, maybe ask for an idea of how you could be better so it's just not blatant down talk, if that makes sense. Because if they can offer the criticism but they have no words of encouragement on how to proceed, that might look a little bit sus. But again, you can take that upon yourself as an opportunity to better yourself. Be the best you that you can be at all times. Keep progressing to that. That's the only competition that you need to focus on. That's the only real competition that I've done throughout my entire life. And again, I'm proud of it. Some of the role models that I've picked have been managers. You quickly assess what not to do. You know what I'm saying? One of the coolest managers I had was this guy, my manager at CombiWorks. He had a life full of adversity that, was relatable, but to see his work ethic and how he pushed through things, I respected that. You know what I'm saying? And some of the drawbacks that he had to go through to even get to where he was. I understand business. If you saw in a previous video, I started several businesses when I was young. So I understand that aspect of small business and what it takes to actually do things. Even in a video talking about me starting this, hidden aspects that you would need to pay attention to even start, maintain, and manage your own channel. Everybody doesn't think about that right off the bat, and then they don't know to put a beat on that to make sure that they allocate bandwidth to pay attention to that particular item, moving forward. So again, self-evaluation, looking to better yourself. Have that desire to want to be better for yourself. don't do it for others. They'll end up benefiting from it. This is part of the ill-explained trickle-down economics. The best you that you are, the more encouragement people around you will have to be better for themselves. And matter of fact, it'll deter people that don't want to be in that realm. Everybody doesn't want to be great, and that's okay. That's okay. Everybody's not meant to be a boss and a manager. That's okay. You know, some people want to though, and they just don't know where to start. They need to see that influential person. They need to see that role model so that they can start to shape their life in a manner that represents what they want to have. That's okay. Everybody's different. So again, you know, unlearning, shedding some of the things that you learned when you were young. And, you know, as far as forgiveness, don't be a victim of it. You're not in control of everything in your life. Stuff's gonna happen. Life isn't fair. We were just talking about this today, actually, talking about my buddy at work, Mr. Heartthrob. I didn't like college. I chose to get work experience because I saw how that outvalued what our educational system was. And what really solidified that again was a philosophy class. Philosophy is opinions based on facts. Philosophies are not factual. They're opinions. They're your thought process and belief system based on facts provided about the world. I failed a philosophy class. Somebody said that my opinion wasn't good enough, which is okay, but I gave an opinion. No opinion is perfect and correct. So, like, how do you fail an opinion class about opinions based on facts? Based on my opinion, all their philosophies are incorrect because of the hierarchy of life that they value. Plant life is at the bottom of the rung, human life is at the top. Go stand out in the winter for a 24-hour period. See how long you last. You know what I'm saying? Some of us experience negative 20 below temperatures. Go handle that. You know what I'm saying? Go take care of that and tell me that you're better than some of these plants out here. Have somebody cut your arm off and see if they can graft it to another person. See how well that works out. You know what I'm saying? Like, take care of that, you know? So, like, just based on that, like, it was a joke, man. I paid for somebody to critique my opinion based on other people's opinions. And, like, I was like, nope, done. Can't even, I won't, because it's opinions. It's opinions based on their belief system, and based on my belief system, I think plants are pretty dope, man. You know, I've seen plants that have more character than some of these people out here, you know, but again, everybody isn't perfect, whatever. But yeah, so you got to be willing to receive information and then align yourself with what you're getting. Not just buy into something wholeheartedly because that's what they're telling you to do. You know what I'm saying? Critical thinking, problem solving skills, negotiating, all valuable skills that will help you progress throughout your life. You know, so again, you have to start with that self-awareness. Anger management might be a healthy place for a lot of people to start. Some of us didn't learn how to process emotions good. You know, this is why I'm stressing constructive outlets. This is why you catch me having these gym chats on a regular and consistent basis. Favorite phrase. You know, because I choose to process constructively for myself now. I did a lot of celebrating in my younger years. I don't need to party and drink. I've been there, I've done that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just wanted to touch base on that. You know, encourage you to feel comfortable and confident shedding some of the systems that you might have, you know, been raised with and probably didn't even feel comfortable with, but they were staples throughout your life. And then re-educate yourself as far as different opportunities and ways to approach different situations. There's more than one philosophy out there, you know, and you can definitely create your own, but stand by it. Stand by what you're choosing to do and what your metrics are and why. Be comfortable taking in criticism, because you might need to alter your philosophy a little bit. If you want to drop any comments about my views on the philosophy class, feel free. I'll read them, I'll take in, you might have a different perspective that I hadn't thought of at this point. But anyway, appreciate you tuning in for the gym chat. Again, encourage you guys to re-educate yourself about